The Stalker in the Parking Lot. Submitted by Marcus T. from Arizona. I need to tell this story because the police never took it seriously. The school didn't take it seriously. And by the time anyone believed us, it was almost too late. This happened during my senior year at Desert Ridge High School in Phoenix, fall semester 2022. I was on the soccer team. Practice ended late most days, usually around 6, right when it was getting dark. The parking lot was huge, typical sprawling Arizona high school. Hundreds of cars, lots of empty spaces by the time practice ended. Most students gone, just athletes and a few clubs still around. I parked in the same area every day. Back corner, near the equipment shed. Less crowded, easier to get out after practice. First time I noticed something weird was mid-September. I was walking to my car after practice. Tired, sweaty, just wanting to get home. I saw someone standing near my car, just standing there. Not getting into a car, not walking, just standing, watching. I slowed down. The person was maybe 30 feet from my car. Male, average height, wearing a hoodie, hands in pockets, face partially hidden. I called out, "Hey, can I help you?" He didn't respond, didn't move, just stood there. I walked closer. He turned and walked away. Not running, not hurried, just casual walking, toward the far end of the parking lot, toward the street. I got in my car, locked the doors, watched him in my rearview mirror. He stopped at the edge of the parking lot, turned around, looked back at me, then walked out of view. Weird, but not alarming. Maybe someone waiting for a ride, maybe someone from another team. I drove home, forgot about it. A week later, it happened again. Same spot. Same person, hoodie, hands in pockets, standing near my car. This time, I didn't call out. I just watched from a distance. Pulled out my phone, tried to take a picture, but he must have seen me because he turned and walked away before I could get a clear shot. I mentioned it to my teammate, Carlos. He laughed it off, said it was probably some kid from another school, trying to intimidate us before a game. Stupid prank. But it kept happening. Every few days, sometimes after practice, sometimes after games, always the same guy, always near my car, always just standing there, watching. I started parking in different spots. Front of the lot, side entrances, near the building, didn't matter. He'd find me, find my car, be standing there when I came out. October, I told my coach. He said to report it to campus security. I did. They said they'd increase patrols. Watch the parking lot more carefully. But the guy never did anything illegal, just stood there. You can't arrest someone for standing in a public parking lot. My parents told me to take pictures, document everything, create a record. So I did. Every time I saw him, I'd photograph from a distance. Got maybe a dozen photos, always blurry. Always hoodie obscuring his face, never clear enough to identify. Then my teammate Jenna started experiencing the same thing. She'd come out after volleyball practice and find someone standing near her car. She described him. Hoodie, average height, hands in pockets, just standing, watching. We compared notes, different practice times, different days, but the same guy, same behavior. He was targeting multiple students, multiple athletes. We reported it again. Campus security, school administration, Phoenix police. They took statements, looked at our photos, said they'd investigate. But what could they do? Guy wasn't breaking any laws, wasn't threatening anyone, just creepy. November, it escalated. I came out after practice and found a note on my windshield, handwritten, block letters. I know where you live. Just that. No signature, no explanation. I called the police immediately, showed them the note. They took it as evidence, said they'd increase patrols around my house, around the school. But they couldn't do much more without identifying the person. 2 days later, Jenna found the same note on her car, same handwriting, same message. I know where you live. Then Carlos found one. Then 3 other athletes. All the same. All people who'd seen the guy in the hoodie standing near their cars. The school called an assembly, warned students about parking lot safety, recommended the buddy system. Never walk to your car alone. Always be aware of your surroundings. Standard advice that didn't actually help, because this guy was smart, patient. He'd wait until you were alone, until your teammates had already left, until you were the last one walking across that dark parking lot. Then he'd appear, just standing there, watching you realize you were isolated, vulnerable. December. Someone saw him during school hours, not after practice, during lunch. A sophomore named Ashley was eating outside and saw a guy in a hoodie standing at the parking lot fence. Just standing there, staring at the building, at the students. She reported it. Security went to check. He was gone. But Ashley had taken a video, 30 seconds of footage, showing a man at the fence, watching the school, never moving, never looking away. The video went viral at our school. Everyone saw it. Everyone started sharing their stories. Dozens of students had seen him, some after practice, some during lunch, some arriving early for clubs. Always the same description: hoodie, hands in pockets, just watching. The police finally took it seriously, assigned a detective, started investigating, checked security footage, but our cameras didn't cover the far corners of the parking lot. The areas where he usually stood, no clear images of his face, no way to identify him. They increased police presence, had officers patrol during dismissal, during practice times. For 2 weeks, we didn't see him. Thought maybe he'd been scared off. Maybe he knew the police were involved and backed off. We were wrong. Christmas break, I was at the mall with friends, doing holiday shopping. We were walking through the parking garage. I saw him. Same hoodie, same stance, hands in pockets, standing between cars, staring at me. My friends saw him too. We all froze. Then he turned and walked away, into the garage. We tried to follow, lost him in the maze of levels and cars. I called the police, reported it. They came, searched the garage. He was gone. But this was escalation. He wasn't just at school anymore. He was following me, tracking me, showing me he could find me anywhere. I stopped going places alone, stopped driving. My dad drove me to school, picked me up, walked me to the building. I felt like a prisoner, but I was terrified. January, back at school. Other students reported seeing him outside school, at the grocery store, at the gym, at the movie theater, always watching, never approaching, just letting us know he was there. The police said it might be multiple people, copycat stalkers, people who'd heard about the hoodie guy and were pretending, trying to scare students. But we knew, we could feel it. Same person, same energy, same cold, calculated watching. Late January, they caught him. Not at our school, at another high school across town. He'd been doing the same thing there, standing in their parking lot, watching their athletes, leaving notes. A security guard at that school confronted him. He ran, the guard chased him, got close enough to pull down his hood, see his face, take a clear photo. Police ran facial recognition. Got a match. 28-year-old man. No prior arrests. No criminal record. Worked a normal job. Lived in a normal apartment. By all accounts, just a regular person. When they searched his apartment, they found lists. Hundreds of names. Students from multiple high schools across Phoenix. Photos. License plate numbers. Home addresses. Practice schedules. Detailed notes about routines, habits, patterns. He'd been tracking us for over a year. Long before we noticed him, he had information about students who'd graduated, students who'd never reported seeing him, students who had no idea they were being watched. The police asked him why. Why was he watching teenagers? Why was he collecting this information? What was he planning to do? He said he wasn't planning anything. He just liked to watch, liked to know things about people, liked the feeling of being invisible, of students walking past him every day, not knowing he knew everything about them. They charged him with stalking, multiple counts. But his lawyer argued he never threatened anyone, never made contact, never did anything illegal beyond standing in public places. The notes couldn't be definitively tied to him, No fingerprints, no DNA, just handwriting analysis that wasn't definitive enough for court. He got a plea deal, misdemeanor stalking, 1-year probation, restraining order keeping him away from schools, mandatory counseling. That's it. 1-year probation for terrorizing hundreds of students, for making us afraid to walk to our cars, for following us outside of school. The worst part? His apartment was 3 blocks from my house. 3 blocks. He'd been living there the entire time. Could see my street from his window. He'd been watching my house, watching my family. And we never knew. I graduated last year, left Phoenix, went to college across the country, but I still look over my shoulder, still check parking lots before walking to my car, still feel like someone's watching me. Because for over a year, someone was. And I didn't notice until he wanted me to notice. Until he'd already collected everything about me. Already knew where I lived, where I shopped, where I hung out. Already had the power to find me whenever he wanted. And there's nothing stopping him from doing it again. Nothing stopping him from finding a new high school, new students, new victims, because he didn't go to prison, didn't face real consequences. Just probation, just counseling. The police said we were lucky. Lucky he was just watching. Lucky he didn't escalate to violence. Lucky we caught him when we did. But it doesn't feel lucky. It feels like we were hunted. Like we were prey. And the hunter just got a slap on the wrist. A warning. A promise to behave. And every student at Desert Ridge High School knows that someone watched us for over a year before we noticed. Someone learned our routines, our schedules, our vulnerabilities. Someone made us his hobby, his obsession. And we'll never know how many more people like him are out there, standing in parking lots, wearing hoodies, hands in pockets, just watching, just waiting, just collecting information about teenagers who have no idea they're being studied. I tell this story because students need to know. If you see someone watching, if you see the same person multiple times, if something feels wrong, trust that feeling, report it immediately. Document everything. Don't wait until there are notes on your car. Don't wait until he's following you outside of school, because by then, he already knows everything about you, already has you mapped, already owns your routine. And there's nothing more terrifying than realizing someone's been watching you for months and you never noticed until they decided to let you see them, until they wanted you to know you were being hunted. The Basement Classroom, submitted by Jessica M. from Pennsylvania. I'm sharing this because I need people to understand what happened at Lincoln High School in 2018. The school tried to bury it. The local news barely covered it. But those of us who were there will never forget. My junior year, they were renovating the main building. Asbestos removal, new wiring, the whole deal. Classes were shuffled around. Some moved to trailers. Some moved to the auditorium. And my AP history class got moved to the basement. I'd never been in the basement before. Most students hadn't. It was ancient, original part of the building from 1923. The school had used it for storage for decades. Boxes of old textbooks, broken desks, equipment nobody wanted to throw away but nobody needed. They cleared out one section, put in some folding tables and chairs, called it a classroom. It was better than the trailers, they said. Climate controlled, quiet. Our teacher, Mr. Patterson, hated it immediately. First day down there, he spent 20 minutes complaining about the lighting, the smell, the lack of windows. But we didn't have a choice. The renovation was going to take all semester. The room had one entrance, a heavy metal door at the end of a long hallway. The hallway itself was creepy, narrow, pipes running along the ceiling, flickering fluorescent lights. It felt like a place you shouldn't be, like you were trespassing. First week was fine. Weird, but fine. The room was cold. Always cold. We wore jackets. Mr. Patterson brought a space heater, but it barely helped. Second week, things started feeling off. Little things. We'd hear noises during class, banging from the walls, footsteps above us, voices echoing down the hallway. Mr. Patterson said it was the construction. Of course we'd hear noise. They were literally tearing apart the building above us. But the noises didn't sound like construction. They sounded closer, like they were in the walls, behind the old storage boxes stacked in the corners, under the floor. Third week, Sarah Chen started having panic attacks. Right in the middle of class, she'd start hyperventilating, crying, saying she needed to leave, needed to get out. Mr. Patterson would walk her to the nurse. She'd calm down once she got upstairs. Back to normal. But the next day, same thing. She'd be fine until we went to the basement. Then she'd start spiraling. Her parents pulled her from the class, said the basement environment was triggering her anxiety. The school moved her to a different section of AP History, in a normal classroom. She was fine after that. Then Marcus Williams started seeing things. He'd be taking notes and suddenly stop, stare at the corner of the room, say there was someone standing there. We'd all look. Nothing, just old boxes and shadows. Mr. Patterson sent him to the counselor. They said he was stressed, overworked. He was taking 5 AP classes, barely sleeping. Of course he was seeing things. But Marcus was a straight-A student. Never caused problems, never made things up. When he said he saw someone in the corner, he believed it, and it scared him. Fourth week, the smell started. Not the musty old basement smell we'd gotten used to. Something else. Something organic. Rotting. We complained. Mr. Patterson complained. Custodians came down, searched the room, checked behind boxes, under tables, in the walls. Couldn't find the source. But the smell got worse. By the end of the week, half the class was wearing masks. The kind you use for paint fumes. Just to sit through the period. The school brought in a specialist, environmental inspector. He spent 2 days testing everything. Air quality, mold, gas leaks, found nothing. Told the school the basement was safe. But it didn't feel safe. It felt wrong, like something bad had happened there. Like the room remembered it. Like we were sitting in a place that wanted us gone. Fifth week, someone found the newspaper clipping. It was stuck between 2 old textbooks, yellowed, brittle, dated December 1956. The headline read, "Local Student Missing After-School Event." The article was short. A junior at Lincoln High, Elizabeth Hartley, disappeared after staying late for a drama club meeting. Last seen in the school building around 7 in the evening. Never made it home. Search continued for weeks. No trace found. The case went cold. Elizabeth Hartley was never found. One of my classmates, Derek, started researching. Spent hours in the library, looking through old yearbooks, old newspapers, trying to find more information about Elizabeth. He found her yearbook photo. Junior class, 1956. Smiling, pretty, looking like any other teenager. No indication she'd vanished without a trace. He found follow-up articles, police questioning students, teachers, family desperate for answers, community devastated, but no leads, no suspects, no body. Then he found something else, a mention in a school board meeting from 1957, discussion about sealing off the basement, making it storage only, no student access. The timing matched. Elizabeth disappeared in December 1956. The basement was sealed off a few months later. Derek showed the articles to Mr. Patterson, asked if there was a connection. Mr. Patterson looked uncomfortable. Said it was probably just coincidence. Old buildings have old stories. Doesn't mean anything. But that night, Derek emailed the whole class. Said he'd found more. Property records, blueprints, old maintenance logs. In 1956, the basement had been used for drama club storage. Costumes, props, set pieces. Elizabeth Hartley was in drama club. She'd been helping organize storage, moving boxes around, cataloging inventory. That was the last place she was seen. The basement. The same basement we were sitting in every day for AP History. Sixth week, people stopped coming to class. Just didn't show up. Made excuses. Sick. Family emergency. Schedule conflict. Anything to avoid the basement. Class size went from 28 students to 15, then 12, then 9. The school noticed, called a meeting. Parents, students, administration. They assured everyone the basement was safe, inspected, approved, nothing to worry about. But they agreed to move the class. After Thanksgiving break, AP History would relocate. Different room, upper floor, windows. We just had to make it 2 more weeks. That's when I found the scratches. On the underside of my desk, deep gouges in the wood, forming letters. I had to crouch down to read them. Help me. I showed Mr. Patterson. He looked at them for a long time. Then he said they were probably old, from when the furniture was used elsewhere. Someone carved them years ago, but they looked fresh. The wood inside the grooves was lighter, not aged, not dusty, recent. I wasn't the only one. Other students found scratches on their desks, on the walls behind storage boxes, on the door frame, all saying the same thing. Help me please, can't get out. We showed the administration. They said it was a prank. Students trying to scare each other. They'd investigate, find who was responsible. But none of us were doing it. We were all too scared to be in that room any longer than necessary. Nobody was staying after class. Nobody was going down there alone. 7th week, Tuesday, something happened that ended everything. We were in class. Normal lecture. Mr. Patterson at the board. Students taking notes. Then we heard it. Banging. Loud. Rhythmic. Coming from the wall. Behind the stacked boxes in the back corner. Mr. Patterson stopped talking. We all stopped writing. Just listened. Bang. 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 3 hits. Pause. 3 hits. Pause. Over. And over. Someone's knocking, Derek said. Someone's behind the wall. Mr. Patterson told us to stay in our seats. He walked to the corner. Started moving boxes. Trying to get to the wall. The banging got louder. More frantic. Like whoever was back there knew we were coming. Knew we were trying to help. Mr. Patterson moved the last box. Exposed the wall. Old brick. Painted over. Cracked in places. He pressed his ear to it. Listening. The banging stopped. Complete silence. Then we heard it. Muffled. Faint. But clear enough. Help me. Please. Let me out. A girl's voice. Young. Terrified. Coming from inside the wall. Mr. Patterson backed away. Told everyone to get out. Now. Move. We ran. Out of the classroom. Down the hallway. Up the stairs. Into the main building. Mr. Patterson called the principal. Called the police. Within an hour, there were cops in the basement. Firefighters. Search and rescue. They brought equipment. Cameras. Sound detectors. They listened to the wall. Knocked on it. Used thermal imaging. Found nothing. No hollow spaces. No gaps. Just solid brick. Original construction from 1923. But we all heard it. 17 people heard that voice. Heard someone begging for help from inside a solid wall. The school shut down the basement, permanently. Not just our classroom, the entire level. They brought in structural engineers, made sure the building was safe. Then they locked the doors, posted signs. No student access, no exceptions. Our class moved upstairs. We finished the semester in a normal room. Normal desks. Normal everything. Nobody talked about what happened. It was like an unspoken agreement. We'd all heard it. We all knew. We didn't need to discuss it. But I did research, like Derek had. I found Elizabeth Hartley's family. Her niece, now in her 70s. I called her, asked about Elizabeth. She told me Elizabeth had been excited about drama club, had stayed late that night to help organize the basement storage. The school called her parents around 9. Said Elizabeth never checked out, never left the building. They searched everywhere. Classrooms, bathrooms, the grounds. Found her coat in the basement, her bag, her books, but not her. The police theory was she'd left through a back exit, run away, or met someone, got in a car, voluntarily or not. But her niece said that didn't make sense. Elizabeth loved her family, loved school, had no reason to run, and she'd never have left her coat. Not in December, not in Pennsylvania. It was freezing that night. Nobody would voluntarily leave without their coat, unless they couldn't get to it, unless something stopped them, trapped them, somewhere they couldn't escape. I asked if anyone had ever considered she might still be in the building, in the walls, sealed up somehow. The niece was quiet for a long time. Then she said yes. She'd thought about that, For 60 years, she'd thought about that. But the school insisted they'd searched everywhere. Elizabeth wasn't there. I told her about the voice, about what we heard, about "help me," scratched into desks and walls. She cried, said she knew. She'd always known. Elizabeth never left that school. She'd been there the whole time, trying to get someone's attention, trying to get help, but nobody listened. For 62 years, nobody listened. Until a class of juniors got stuck in the basement. Until we finally heard what Elizabeth had been trying to tell everyone since 1956. The school never acknowledged what we heard, never investigated further, never opened that wall. They just sealed the basement and moved on. But I think about Elizabeth Hartley every day, about her voice, about those scratches, about how many times she must have tried to get help, how many students and teachers walked past that wall over 6 decades, heard strange noises, smelled strange smells, felt something wrong, and dismissed it. We were the first ones to actually listen. And even then, it wasn't enough. Because Elizabeth is still there, still in that basement, still behind that wall, still waiting for someone to let her out. And every student who goes to Lincoln High School walks above her every single day, never knowing that someone's been trapped in their school for over 60 years, still scratching, still knocking, still begging for help that never comes. I graduated 2 years ago, but I still have nightmares about that basement, about that voice, about what would have happened if we'd stayed down there longer, if we'd been the ones who couldn't get out, if we'd become like Elizabeth, trapped, forgotten, left to knock on walls and scratch messages that nobody believes are real. The school is still open, still in use. The basement is still sealed, and Elizabeth Hartley is still missing, still waiting, still hoping that someday, someone will care enough to break through that wall and finally let her come home. The Teacher's Favorites, submitted by Rachel K. from Massachusetts. I'm writing this because someone needs to know what really happened at Riverside High School. The official story is sanitized, incomplete. The truth is so much worse than what made the news. My sophomore year, fall 2023, Mr. James Hoffman joined our faculty. He taught English and creative writing, mid-30s, friendly, energetic. The kind of teacher who seemed genuinely excited to be there. Students loved him immediately. He had this way of making everyone feel special, like he really saw you, really understood you. He'd remember details about your life, ask about your weekend, compliment your work. Teachers like that are rare. We thought we were lucky to have him. He started an after-school creative writing club, met twice a week, open to anyone interested. About 15 of us joined, mostly sophomores and juniors. We'd share our writing, get feedback, work on projects. It was supportive, fun, productive. Mr. Hoffman was great at giving personalized attention. He'd stay after club meetings to talk to individual students about their work, about their goals. He made you feel like your writing mattered, like you had real potential. He picked favorites quickly, not in an obvious way, but you could tell. Certain students got more of his time, more detailed feedback, more encouragement. I was one of them. So were my friends Sophie and Brandon. We felt chosen, special. He started giving us extra opportunities, asked if we'd help him organize a school literary magazine, said we had the talent, the vision. He trusted us. We met with him during lunch periods, after school, planning, discussing, building something. Looking back, that's when the boundaries started blurring. He'd share personal stories about his life, his struggles in college, his failed relationship, things that felt intimate, things that made us feel like confidants, like we weren't just students anymore. We were friends. He'd text us about writing opportunities, about submission deadlines, about articles we might find interesting, always professional on the surface, but the frequency felt personal. He'd text late at night, on weekends, random thoughts, questions about our work. Sophie's parents thought it was weird, told her a teacher shouldn't be texting students at 11 at night, but Sophie defended him. He was just passionate about helping us, just invested in our success. We were making something important. The literary magazine was going to be incredible. November. He invited the core group to his apartment. Said we could have a writing workshop there. More comfortable than the classroom. More focused. We could really dig into our work. 6 of us went. Me, Sophie, Brandon, 3 others. His apartment was nice, clean. He had snacks, drinks. Made it feel casual, like we were hanging out, not like a formal teacher-student thing. We did work on writing, for about an hour. Then it became more social. He showed us his own writing, shared stories about his MFA program. We talked about books, about life, about our families. It felt natural, like we were being treated as adults, as equals. He invited us back the following week. Then the week after. It became routine. Writing workshops at his apartment. Some weeks we'd barely write, just talk. Just exist in this space where we weren't students and he wasn't our teacher, just people who enjoyed each other's company. December, things shifted. He started focusing more on individual mentoring. Asked me to come to his apartment alone. Said he wanted to work on my novel, give it proper attention, one-on-one feedback. I said yes. I felt honored. Nothing happened that first time. We sat at his kitchen table, went through my pages. He gave excellent notes, made me feel like a real writer, told me I had a future in this, that he'd help me get there. But then he asked about my family, about my home life, about my relationship with my parents. I told him things I hadn't told anyone, about my dad's drinking, about my mom's depression, about feeling invisible in my own house. He listened, really listened, said he understood, said he'd been through similar things, made me feel seen, heard, like someone finally got it. He hugged me when I left, just a quick hug, but it felt significant, like we'd crossed some line, shared something real. I went back the next week, and the week after. Each time, less writing, more talking, more sharing. He'd touch my shoulder when making a point, sit closer on the couch, hold eye contact a little longer. Nothing I could point to as wrong, but it felt charged, intense. Then Sophie told me he'd invited her over alone too. Same thing, working on her poetry, one-on-one attention. She felt special, chosen. She'd been going for weeks. Hadn't told anyone because it felt private. Sacred. We compared notes. Realized Brandon was going too, and 2 others, all separately, all thinking we were the only one getting this special attention, all feeling uniquely connected to him. That's when I started feeling uncomfortable. Why was he meeting with all of us alone? Why keep it separate? Why not just have group workshops? I mentioned it to Sophie. She got defensive, said I was jealous, said I wanted to keep Mr. Hoffman's attention for myself. We fought. First real fight we'd ever had. January. He told me he had feelings for me. We were at his apartment, working on my novel. He just said it, straight out. Said he knew it was inappropriate, knew it was complicated, but he couldn't help it. He'd never connected with anyone the way he connected with me. I froze, didn't know what to say. Part of me felt flattered. This adult man, this talented writer, this person I admired, had feelings for me. But another part felt wrong, scared, confused. He said we didn't have to do anything about it. Said he just needed me to know, needed to be honest. But we could keep things professional, keep our relationship appropriate, if that's what I wanted. I left, told him I needed to think, spent the whole night awake, replaying the conversation, trying to understand what I felt, what I wanted. I was 16, he was 36. This wasn't okay, but it felt real, felt mutual, felt like something special. I told Sophie the next day, expected her to be shocked. Instead, she said he'd told her the same thing, 2 weeks earlier. Same speech, same confession, same promise to keep it professional. We found Brandon, asked him. He got quiet, then admitted Mr. Hoffman had told him too. Said Brandon was special. Said he'd never felt this way about a student before. He'd said the same thing to all of us, word for word. Made each of us feel uniquely chosen, uniquely special. When really, we were just a pattern, a system, a predatory strategy. We went to the principal, together. Told her everything. The texts, the apartment visits, the confessions. She listened, took notes, said she'd investigate. Told us to stop all contact with Mr. Hoffman immediately. No more texts, no more visits, no more club meetings. We waited. Days passed. Nothing happened. Mr. Hoffman kept teaching, kept running the writing club, like nothing was wrong. Then Sophie got called to the principal's office. They questioned her for 2 hours, asked if she'd ever lied about her interactions with Mr. Hoffman, asked if we'd coordinated our stories, asked if she was sure about the timeline, the details, everything. They did the same to me, to Brandon, to everyone who'd reported. Made us feel like we were the problem, like we were lying, like we'd conspired to ruin a good teacher's career. The principal said they'd investigated, found no evidence of inappropriate behavior. Mr. Hoffman admitted to the apartment visits, but said they were supervised writing workshops, educational, appropriate. He denied making any romantic confessions, said we'd misunderstood his mentorship, his care for his students. It was his word against ours. Adult teacher against teenage students. Guess who they believed? But they did make changes. Shut down the writing club. Prohibited after-school meetings between teachers and students without another adult present. Mr. Hoffman couldn't text students anymore. Had to use school email only. He stayed, kept teaching. But everyone knew something had happened. Rumors spread. Some students supported him. Said we'd made it up. We're attention-seeking. We're trying to get him fired because he'd rejected us. Others believed us. Avoided his classes. Started their own whisper campaigns. February, a junior named Maya came forward. Said Mr. Hoffman had been meeting with her alone, at his apartment, for months. Before we'd ever reported anything, she had texts, photos of his apartment, proof she'd been there. She said he'd kissed her, touched her, told her she was mature for her age, told her their connection was special, real, worth protecting. She was 15. He'd been grooming her since the start of the school year. With Maya's testimony, the police got involved. They investigated his phone, his computer, found messages with multiple students, not just at our school, at his previous school in Connecticut. Same pattern, same language, same predatory behavior. They arrested him in March, charged him with multiple counts, corruption of minors, unlawful contact with minors, everything they could make stick. The trial was brutal. We all had to testify, describe the apartment visits, the texts, the confessions. Defense attorneys tried to paint us as lying, as coordinated, as teenagers with crushes who'd misinterpreted his kindness. But there were too many of us. Too many similar stories. Too much evidence. He was convicted, sentenced to 8 years, required to register as a sex offender, lost his teaching license, his career, his freedom. The school district settled lawsuits with multiple families, paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars, admitted they'd failed to protect students, failed to investigate properly, failed to believe us when we came forward. But that didn't fix anything, didn't undo the damage, didn't erase the months of manipulation. The way he'd made us feel special, chosen, the way he'd exploited our trust, our need for validation, our desire to be seen as mature, as talented, as worthy. I'm in college now, studying to be a teacher, because I want to be the kind of educator who protects students, who maintains boundaries, who never makes a kid feel like they're special in ways that serve my needs instead of theirs. But I still struggle. I don't trust easily. I question people's motives. When someone compliments my work, shows interest in my life, wants to spend time with me, I wonder what they really want, what they're trying to take. Sophie dropped out of school, couldn't handle being there anymore, couldn't walk past his empty classroom, couldn't deal with the students who still thought we'd lied. She got her GED, moved away. We don't talk much anymore. Too many memories attached to our friendship. Brandon finished high school, but didn't pursue writing. Said it was ruined for him. Too connected to Mr. Hoffman, to that time, to the way he'd been manipulated into thinking he was special. Maya's still in therapy. Her parents sued the school district separately. Got a larger settlement. But no amount of money fixes what he did to her. The way he touched her. The way he convinced her it was love. the way he stole her ability to trust adult men in positions of authority. I tell this story because students need to recognize the signs. Teachers who text constantly, who share personal problems, who invite you to their homes, who make you feel uniquely special, who blur boundaries, who tell you you're mature, different from other students, who confide in you, who ask you to keep secrets. These are red flags, not signs of a great mentor, signs of grooming, signs of someone testing boundaries, seeing how far they can push before you object, building a relationship that serves their needs, not yours. Real teachers maintain boundaries, keep interactions professional, don't need you to feel special in ways that isolate you from other students, don't need private relationships, don't need your emotional intimacy, don't need anything from you except your academic engagement. And if a teacher makes you uncomfortable, makes you question their intentions, makes you feel like something's wrong even if you can't identify what, trust that feeling. Tell someone. Tell multiple someones. Tell until someone listens. Someone believes. Someone acts. Because predators rely on silence. On students doubting themselves. On students feeling special. On students thinking they're the only one. On students protecting the relationship. Protecting the secret. Protecting the predator. We stayed silent too long. Protected him too long. Thought we were special too long. And other students suffered because we didn't speak up sooner. James Hoffman is in prison now. But there are others, other teachers at other schools, using the same tactics, the same language, the same system of grooming, making students feel chosen, special, mature. Don't fall for it. Don't protect them. Don't stay silent. Because you're not special to them. You're a target, a pattern, a victim they're creating through careful manipulation and boundary violation. And the sooner you recognize that, the sooner you speak up, the sooner you can stop them from doing to other students what they tried to do to you, before you become another story, another lawsuit, another person trying to rebuild their life after a predator disguised as a mentor stole pieces of who you were supposed to become. The group chat, submitted by Daniel P. from Texas. I'm sharing this because what happened to us could happen to anyone. And by the time you realize it's happening, it might be too late to stop it. Junior year at Westlake High School in Austin. Spring semester 2024. My friend group was tight. 8 of us. Known each other since middle school. Blake, Jordan, Connor, Tyler, myself, and 3 girls. Olivia, Hannah, and Kayla. We had a group chat. Had one for years. Normal high school stuff. Homework questions. Plans for weekend. Memes. Drama. Nothing unusual. We talked every day. Multiple times a day. It was our main form of communication. March, things started changing. Started small. Jordan made a joke in the chat. Something stupid about Connor's haircut. Everyone laughed. Connor laughed. Normal friend roasting. Happens all the time. But then Blake took it further. Made another joke. Harsher. More personal. About Connor being short. About his voice cracking. About him never having a girlfriend. Still framed as joking. Still with laughing emojis. But meaner. Connor responded with a crying laughing emoji. Played along. But you could tell it bothered him. The jokes kept coming. From Blake. From Jordan. Even Tyler joined in. And the rest of us watched. Sent our own laughing emojis. Encouraged it without meaning to. It became a daily thing. Connor was the target. The punchline. Everything he said got twisted. Mocked. Used against him. He stopped participating as much. Would read messages but not respond. But the jokes continued. About him lurking. About him being too sensitive. About him not being able to take a joke. The girls in our group tried to defend him. Olivia said we were taking it too far. Hannah said it wasn't funny anymore. But Blake and Jordan said they were overreacting. Said Connor knew they were joking. Said he could handle it. Said if it really bothered him, he'd say something. But Connor didn't say anything. Just got quieter. Started missing hangouts. Making excuses. We saw him at school, but he seemed distant. Distracted. Not himself. April. Blake created a second group chat. Without Connor. Called it the real group chat. Said it was where we could talk freely. Without worrying about Connor getting sensitive. Said it was temporary. Just until Connor lightened up. At first, I felt uncomfortable. Felt like we were excluding him, being mean. But Blake said we weren't doing anything wrong. We were just giving Connor space. If he wanted to be part of the group, he needed to stop being so serious, so uptight. The second chat became where we actually talked, made plans, shared real thoughts. The original chat with Connor became performative. We'd post occasional messages so it looked active. But all the real conversation happened without him. Connor noticed. Asked why everyone was being distant, why plans were being made without him. Blake told him he was being paranoid, that we were all busy, that nothing had changed. But everything had changed. The second chat started getting darker. People would screenshot Connor's messages from the original chat and mock them in the private one. Blake would analyze everything Connor said, find ways to make it pathetic, desperate. Jordan would add his own commentary, make it crueler. And we all participated, sent laughing emojis, added our own jokes, even the girls, even Olivia who defended him before, because it felt like bonding, like we were all in on something together, like we were part of the inner circle. And Connor was out. Late April, someone created a meme account on Instagram, anonymous, started posting about Connor, not using his name, but everyone knew. Photos from our friend group with Connor's face zoomed in. Circled, with captions mocking his expressions, his clothes, his mannerisms. The account gained followers quickly. Kids from our school, other schools, people who didn't even know Connor. They'd comment, add their own jokes, share the posts. It spiraled. Connor stopped coming to school. His parents called the school, said he was sick, but everyone knew. Everyone had seen the account. Everyone knew he was the target. The school investigated, called us in one by one, asked about the group chat, the meme account, our friendship with Connor. We all said the same thing. We were friends. We joked around. Normal friend stuff. We didn't know about the meme account. Wasn't us. Must be someone else. They couldn't prove otherwise. The account was anonymous. The group chats were on our personal phones. Private. They couldn't force us to show them. And we all stuck to our story. Protected each other. Protected Blake especially, since he'd been leading everything. May. Connor's parents pulled him from school. Enrolled him somewhere else. Said he was being bullied. Harassed. That Westlake wasn't safe for him. The school denied it. Said they'd investigated. Found no evidence of systemic bullying. Just normal teenage social dynamics. After Connor left, the group chat went back to normal. We added someone new, a kid named Marcus from our math class. The original chat with Connor sat dormant. Nobody deleted it, just stopped using it. Let it exist as a graveyard of our old friendship. But things felt different. The jokes that had been aimed at Connor started spreading. Blake would target Jordan sometimes, then Tyler, then me, always framed as joking. Always with that same escalating cruelty. Always with the group participating, laughing, encouraging. I started wondering if we'd done the same thing to others before Connor. If this was a pattern. If Blake always needed a target. Someone to elevate himself against. Someone to make the rest of us feel superior to. Connected through shared cruelty. June, end of school year. I was at a party. Ran into a kid from another school. He asked if I knew Connor Shaw. Said he went to Westlake. I said yeah, used to be friends. The kid told me Connor had tried to kill himself. 2 weeks after leaving Westlake, overdosed on his mom's sleeping pills. They found him in time, pumped his stomach. He survived, but barely. I felt sick, left the party, went home, looked at our old group chat, scrolled through months of messages, saw how it had progressed, how the jokes had started small, harmless, then grew, sharpened, how we'd all participated, all added fuel, all pretended it was just joking, just friends being friends. I tried to talk to Blake about it, about Connor, about what we'd done. Blake said it wasn't our fault. Connor was unstable, had problems we didn't know about. We didn't make him do anything. We were just joking around. If he couldn't handle it, that was on him. But I knew better. We'd systematically isolated him, mocked him, created a separate space to talk about him behind his back, allowed an anonymous account to humiliate him publicly. And when it got bad enough that he left school, we'd all lied about it, protected ourselves, acted like victims. I left the friend group, stopped responding to the group chat, stopped hanging out with Blake and Jordan. They called me sensitive, said I was being dramatic, like they'd said about Connor. Senior year, I transferred to a different school. Couldn't be at Westlake anymore. Couldn't walk the same halls, sit in the same cafeteria, pretend like nothing had happened, like we hadn't almost killed someone through months of calculated cruelty disguised as friendship. I reached out to Connor on Instagram, sent him a long message, apologized, told him I was sorry for everything, for participating, for not stopping it, for lying to the school, for being a coward. He never responded, blocked me. I don't blame him. What could I even say that would matter? Sorry I helped destroy your mental health? Sorry I stood by while you were systematically humiliated? Sorry I prioritized being part of the group over being a decent person? I learned later that Olivia and Hannah felt the same way, had tried to reach out to Connor, also got blocked. We'd sometimes talk about it, about the guilt, about how we'd let it happen, how we'd participated, how we told ourselves it was just joking when we knew it wasn't. Blake and Jordan graduated, went to college, still friends, still have their group chat, probably still have a target. Someone new to elevate themselves against, because that's what they do. That's what people like them need. Someone to feel superior to, someone to bond over destroying. I'm in therapy now, have been for over a year, working through what happened, understanding my role in it, learning to recognize toxic group dynamics, learning to speak up, learning that going along with cruelty because everyone else is doesn't make it less cruel, doesn't absolve you. My therapist says what we did to Connor is a common pattern. Group bullying masked as friendship, where the cruelty escalates gradually, where everyone participates just enough to be complicit, where the group protects itself by lying, denying, reframing abuse as joking. She says the digital aspect makes it worse. Group chats create permanent records of cruelty. Screenshots can be shared infinitely. Anonymous accounts can amplify harassment beyond your immediate circle. And victims can't escape it. It follows them home, into their bedrooms, into their phones that they can't put down. Connor's doing better now. I know because his sister goes to my new school. She says he's in therapy, on medication, slowly rebuilding, but he's not the same person. Doesn't trust easily, doesn't make friends, keeps to himself. He's alive, but something in him died, something we killed. I tell this story because it's easy to become what we became. Easy to participate in group cruelty. Easy to tell yourself it's just joking. Easy to prioritize group belonging over individual dignity. Easy to lie to protect yourself and your friends. Easy to destroy someone gradually, in small cuts, until they're bleeding out and you claim you never held a knife. If you're in a group chat where someone's always the target, where jokes get meaner over time, where you have a separate chat to talk about someone behind their back, where screenshots are shared to mock people, where you're all lying to adults about what's happening, you're not friends having fun, you're participating in systematic abuse. And it doesn't matter that you're not the ringleader, doesn't matter that you're just laughing along, just sending emojis, just staying quiet. Your participation enables it. Your silence permits it. Your presence validates it. Connor almost died because 8 people decided being part of a group was more important than his humanity. Because we told ourselves it was just joking, just teenage drama, just normal friend dynamics. But there's nothing normal about driving someone to attempt suicide. Nothing funny about systematic humiliation. Nothing acceptable about creating spaces specifically to mock and exclude someone who thinks you're their friends. We weren't his friends. We were his tormentors. And we pretended otherwise until it was almost too late. Until he was in a hospital bed with his stomach pumped. Until his parents were crying. Until he had to leave his school, his life, everything familiar, because being around us was literally killing him. I can't undo what I did. Can't give Connor back the person he was before we destroyed him. Can't erase the memes, the screenshots, the months of cruelty disguised as friendship. But I can tell this story. Can warn other people to recognize what we didn't recognize until it was too late. Can beg you to be better than we were. to speak up, to leave toxic groups, to refuse to participate in collective cruelty, no matter how much you want to belong. Because belonging to a group that destroys people isn't belonging, it's complicity. And the cost of that complicity might be someone's life. Connor survived. Barely. Others might not be as lucky. And you'll have to live with that. With knowing your jokes, your emojis, your silence contributed to someone's death. I think about that every day. About how close we came. About how easily I could be writing about a funeral instead of a survival. About how I'd have to live the rest of my life knowing I helped kill someone who thought I was his friend. Don't be me. Don't be us. Don't let your friend group become a mob. Don't let jokes become abuse. Don't let belonging cost someone their life. Because group chats feel private, feel safe, feel like you can say anything. But they're not. They're evidence. They're weapons. They're proof of who you really are when you think nobody's watching. And Connor was watching. Every message, every joke, every emoji. Watching his friends become his bullies. Watching people he trusted destroy him. Until he couldn't watch anymore. Couldn't exist anymore. Couldn't survive what we'd made him feel. He survived. This time. But part of him didn't. Part of him died in that group chat. In those screenshots. In that meme account. In the months we spent systematically destroying him while calling it friendship. And that death is on us. On me. Forever. The Lock-In. Submitted by Ashley T. From Ohio. I'm writing this because the school district buried what happened. Paid settlements. Made families sign NDAs. But I never signed anything. And people need to know the truth about what happened during the senior lock-in at Fairmont High School. Senior year. Spring 2023. Our class had been planning the overnight lock-in for months. Tradition at our school. Graduating seniors got to spend one night in the building. Games. Movies. Food. Supervised by teachers and parent volunteers. Supposed to be fun. A memory. Last hurrah before graduation. About 200 students signed up. Permission slips, emergency contacts, health forms, everything official. The school took it seriously. Had done it for 15 years without incident. We arrived Friday evening around 7. They locked the exterior doors. Security protocol. Nobody in or out until morning. Teachers did a head count. Checked everyone off the list. We were all there. All accounted for. First few hours were great. We had the gym for basketball and volleyball, the cafeteria for food, the auditorium showing movies, multiple stations, different activities, freedom to roam between designated areas. Around 11, things started getting weird. Group of students tried to go to the bathroom on the second floor. Door to the stairwell was locked. Shouldn't have been. All interior doors were supposed to stay unlocked. Fire code, safety. They found a teacher, Mr. Rodriguez. He tried his key, didn't work. Tried another key, nothing. The lock had been changed. Or jammed. He radioed other teachers. Asked if anyone else was having issues with doors. 3 other stairwell doors were locked. All access to the second floor. Blocked. Nobody could get upstairs. Mr. Rodriguez called the principal, Mr. Hayes. He'd gone home but came back. Brought maintenance staff. They examined the locks. Someone had superglued them. Deliberately sabotaged them. Made the second floor inaccessible. Principal Hayes was angry. Asked if anyone had seen anything suspicious. Anyone messing with doors. Nobody had. The glue must have been applied earlier. Before we arrived, or during the chaos of 200 students moving around, they decided to continue the lock-in. We still had the gym, the cafeteria, the auditorium. First floor was enough space. The second floor was just classrooms anyway. Empty. Nothing we needed up there. Midnight, the lights went out. All of them. Complete darkness. Emergency lights kicked in after a few seconds. Dim, barely enough to see. Students started panicking, screaming. Teachers tried to calm everyone down. Told us to stay where we were. Not to move. Principal Hayes went to check the electrical panel. It was in the basement. He took 2 maintenance guys and a flashlight. Told the teachers to keep everyone calm. He'd fix it. Get the lights back on. Just a breaker issue. He was gone for 20 minutes. Came back looking shaken. Said someone had cut the main power line. physically cut it with wire cutters. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. Someone was sabotaging the lock-in. He tried calling the police. Phone lines were dead. Landlines cut. Cell service was spotty in the building anyway. Mostly cement walls. Bad reception. A few teachers got partial signal. Enough to send texts. Police were contacted. On their way, but we were locked in. Exterior doors were deadbolted from the outside. Security measure to keep people from entering. But now we couldn't leave. 200 students and 15 adults trapped inside a dark school with someone who'd sabotaged multiple systems. Principal Hayes made an announcement. Everyone to the gym. Stay together. Nobody wanders off. Nobody goes anywhere alone. We huddled in groups. Teachers positioned around the perimeter. Parent volunteers watching the doors. That's when someone noticed Brittany Coleman was missing. She'd gone to the bathroom right before the lights went out, near the cafeteria. Nobody had seen her since. 2 teachers went to check. Found the bathroom empty. Called her name. Searched the cafeteria. The hallways. Nothing. Brittany was gone. More students were sent to look. Groups of 5 with a teacher. Systematic search of the first floor. Every classroom. Every closet. Every corner. Brittany wasn't there. Then someone realized the door to the basement was open. It had been locked earlier. Maintenance access only. But now it was open. Slightly ajar. Like someone had gone through recently. Principal Hayes went down with 3 teachers. Flashlights sweeping the darkness. The basement was huge. Old school. Original foundation from the 1950s. Lots of corridors. Storage rooms. Mechanical spaces. Easy to get lost. They found Brittany in a storage room. Unconscious. She'd been hit on the head. Not a serious injury, but enough to knock her out. Someone had dragged her down there. Left her. They brought her up. Called an ambulance on a teacher's cell phone. But the ambulance couldn't get in. Doors were deadbolted from outside. They'd need to break them down. Fire department was called. Bringing equipment. While we waited, another student went missing. Marcus Wu. He'd been sitting with his friends. Got up to get water. Never came back. This time, people saw something. A figure in the hallway. Moving fast. Wearing dark clothes. Face covered. They grabbed Marcus. Dragged him toward the auditorium. Into the darkness. Teachers ran after them. Students followed. We found the auditorium doors locked. From the inside. Someone was in there with Marcus. And we couldn't get to him. Principal Hayes and 3 male teachers broke down the door. Shoulder-charged it until the lock gave way. They rushed in. Found Marcus on the stage. Tied to a chair. Tape over his mouth. Struggling. But whoever took him was gone. Disappeared into the backstage area. The teachers untied Marcus. He was terrified. Crying. Said someone grabbed him from behind. Covered his mouth. Dragged him into the auditorium. Tied him up. Didn't say anything. Just left him there. The fire department arrived. Cut through the exterior locks. We could finally leave. But Principal Hayes said no. Everyone stays. Police were coming. This was a crime scene. We needed to give statements. Account for everyone. They did another head count. Everyone was there. Brittany was with paramedics. Marcus was with his parents who'd rushed over. 200 students. 15 adults. All accounted for. But someone had cut the power. Glued the locks. Attacked 2 students. And that person was either still in the building or had escaped during the chaos. Police searched the entire school. Brought dogs. Thermal imaging. Checked every room. Every closet. Every possible hiding spot. Found nothing. No intruder. No evidence of forced entry. No sign anyone unauthorized was in the building. Which meant it was one of us. One of the students. Or one of the adults. Someone who was supposed to be there. Someone who'd planned this. Prepared for it. Executed it during the lock-in. Police interviewed everyone. Took statements. Asked about enemies. Conflicts. Anyone acting suspicious. But with 200 students, the suspect pool was massive. And nobody had seen anything concrete. Just a figure in dark clothes. Could have been anyone. They checked security footage. But someone had disabled the cameras. Spray painted the lenses earlier in the evening. Before the lock-in started. Whoever did this had access, had knowledge of the building, had planned every detail. The lock-in was obviously canceled. We were sent home around 4 in the morning. Parents were furious. The school district issued statements, apologized, promised a full investigation, promised it would never happen again. But they never caught whoever did it, never identified the attacker. The investigation went cold. No arrests, no charges, just theories and suspicions that went nowhere. Brittany had a concussion, missed a week of school. Marcus was physically fine but traumatized, refused to talk about it. Both families hired lawyers, sued the school district, settled out of court, terms confidential. Other families sued too, claiming emotional distress, negligence, failure to protect students. The district settled everything, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, made everyone sign NDAs, buried it. But the rumors never stopped. Everyone had theories. Some thought it was a student prank gone wrong. Some thought it was an outsider who'd hidden in the building before lockdown. Some thought it was a teacher, someone with access and knowledge. I had my own theory, still do, because I saw something that night. Something I didn't tell the police. Something I've kept quiet about for 2 years. When the lights first went out, before the emergency lights kicked in, I was near the cafeteria. In that brief moment of complete darkness, I heard breathing, close, right next to me. Someone was standing there, inches away. I could smell their cologne, familiar. I'd smelled it before, in class. Then the emergency lights came on. Nobody was there, just empty space. But I know what I heard, what I smelled, and I know that cologne. Mr. Peterson wore it. Our chemistry teacher. One of the chaperones that night. I never saw Mr. Peterson during the chaos. Never saw him helping search. Never saw him managing students. He was just absent. And when I asked about him later, he said he'd been in the auditorium watching a movie. Didn't realize anything was wrong until Principal Hayes made the announcement. But that didn't make sense. The auditorium wasn't that isolated. He would have heard the screaming when the lights went out, would have noticed the emergency lights, would have come out to help, unless he was busy, doing other things, cutting power lines, attacking Brittany, setting up Marcus in the auditorium, then returning to his position, pretending he'd been there all along. I looked into Mr. Peterson after that night, did some digging, found out he'd been at another school before Fairmont, left suddenly, mid-year, no explanation. I contacted students from that school, asked if anything weird had happened. One person responded, said there'd been an incident during an overnight science camp. Students were harassed, equipment was sabotaged, someone was stalking kids in the dark. They suspected a teacher, but couldn't prove it. Mr. Peterson left shortly after. New job at Fairmont. I took this information to the police. They said they'd look into it. Interviewed Mr. Peterson. He had an alibi. Other teachers saw him in the auditorium, before and after the attacks. He couldn't have done it. Wasn't possible. But I know what I heard, what I smelled, and I know that other teachers were distracted, managing 200 panicked students. Nobody was really watching Mr. Peterson. He could have slipped away, done what he did, returned, and nobody would have noticed. He still teaches at Fairmont, still chaperoning events, still trusted with students. And I can't prove anything, can't convince anyone, can't make them see what I saw, what I know. So I'm sharing this publicly, breaking my silence. Because even though I didn't sign an NDA, even though I'm legally allowed to speak, I've been quiet too long. Letting this fester, letting him continue. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe the breathing I heard was someone else. Maybe the cologne was coincidence. Maybe my suspicions are just paranoia born from trauma. But maybe I'm right. Maybe Mr. Peterson terrorized 200 students, attacked 2 classmates, got away with it because nobody could prove it, because everyone assumed it was someone else, because the district wanted it buried. And maybe he'll do it again, at another lock-in, another overnight event, another opportunity to have power over scared students in the dark. Because that's what it was about. Power. Control. Watching us panic. watching us fear, knowing he caused it. Brittany graduated, went to college out of state, doesn't come back to visit. Marcus graduated too, still lives in town, works at his dad's shop, didn't go to college. Says he can't be in schools anymore, can't handle the memories. I'm a freshman in college now, but I think about that night constantly. About the breathing in the dark, about the smell of that cologne, about Mr. Peterson's face when we all gathered in the gym after finding Marcus. He looked calm, composed, not shocked like everyone else, like he'd been expecting it, like he already knew what had happened, because he did know, because he'd done it, and gotten away with it. If you're a student at Fairmont High School, be careful. Don't trust easily. Don't assume adults are safe just because they're teachers. Watch for signs, patterns, incidents that don't make sense. And if your school plans an overnight event, think twice before attending. Because lock-ins are supposed to be fun, supposed to be safe, supposed to be supervised. But supervision doesn't matter when the predator is one of the supervisors. When the person you're supposed to trust is the person hunting you. When the adult in charge is the one sabotaging systems and attacking students in the dark. We learned that the hard way. 200 students trapped in a school with someone who wanted to hurt us, who succeeded in hurting us, who walked away without consequences. And he's still there, still teaching, still chaperoning, still waiting for the next opportunity, the next lock-in, the next group of students who trust him, who don't know what he's capable of, who don't know to watch their backs. Because we didn't know either. Until it was too late. Until the lights went out. Until we were trapped. Until someone we trusted became someone we should have feared all along. Be careful. Trust your instincts. And if something feels wrong, if someone makes you uncomfortable, if you smell familiar cologne in the darkness where nobody should be standing, run. Tell someone. Don't stay quiet like I did. Because silence protects predators. And Mr. Peterson is still being protected. By the district. By the NDAs. By the lack of proof. By my silence that I'm finally breaking. This is the truth about the Fairmont lock-in. The truth they paid to bury. The truth I'm finally sharing. And if Mr. Peterson is reading this, if you know who you are and what you did, know that someone knows. Someone saw through your alibi. Someone smelled your cologne in the dark. Someone won't forget. Won't stop watching. Won't let you do it again without warning others. You got away with it once. You won't get away forever. The truth has a way of surfacing, of finding light, of catching up to people who think they're untouchable. Your time is coming. And when it does, I'll be there, ready to testify, ready to finally prove what I know, ready to make sure no other students experience what we experienced, what Brittany and Marcus experienced. Because you may have won that night, may have terrorized us, may have walked away clean, but this isn't over. Not for me, not for the others who suspect, not for the students you might target next. We're watching now, and we won't stay quiet anymore. The swim team hazing, submitted by Kyle R. from Florida. I'm telling this story because what happened to me happens to thousands of athletes every year, and schools keep covering it up, calling it tradition, calling it team bonding, calling it anything except what it actually is. Freshman year at Coral Springs High School, fall 2022. I'd been swimming competitively since I was 8, good enough to make varsity as a freshman. My parents were proud. My coaches were excited. I thought I'd made it. Thought I was part of something special. The team had 40 swimmers, mix of freshmen through seniors. The seniors ran everything. Captain was a guy named Derek Martinez, committed to swim at University of Florida. Everyone respected him, looked up to him. He set the tone for the whole team. First few weeks were normal. Practice, meets, team dinners. Everyone was welcoming, supportive. I felt like I belonged, like I'd found my people. Then someone mentioned Hell Week. Upperclassmen would smile, laugh, say it was coming, say freshmen would understand soon. They made it sound fun, like a rite of passage, something to look forward to. Late September, Hell Week started. Sunday night, all the freshmen got a text. Be at the school pool at midnight. Don't tell parents. Don't tell coaches. Just show up. Wear practice suits. Bring towels. This was tradition. This was how you became real team members. 7 of us showed up. 3 girls. 4 boys, including me. The upperclassmen were waiting. 20 of them. Derek was leading. He explained the rules. Hell Week was 5 nights. Each night, different challenges. Team building, trust exercises, bonding. If we completed all 5 nights, we'd be initiated. Full team members, part of the family. He made it sound positive. Like summer camp games. Like fun challenges. We were nervous but excited. This was what being on the team meant. Proving yourself. Earning your place. First night was endurance. Swimming laps. Lots of them. More than we'd ever done in practice. They timed us. Shouted encouragement. When someone slowed down, they'd push us. Literally push us back into the pool. Make us keep going. It hurt. We were exhausted. But we finished. They cheered. Said we did great. Said tomorrow would be different. Easier. Second night was worse. They called it trust falls. Blindfolded us. Led us to the diving boards. Made us jump. Said the team would catch us. We'd land in their arms. Safe. Supported. Proof we could trust our teammates. But they didn't catch us. We'd jump and hit the water. Hard. Disoriented. Scared. They'd laugh. Pull us out. Say we needed to trust more. Jump better. Try again. We did it over and over. Some of us hit the water wrong. One girl, Megan, hit face first. Bloody nose. They said she was fine. Gave her a towel. Made her do it again. I started feeling wrong about it. This wasn't team building. This was humiliation. But everyone else was going along with it. The other freshmen. The upperclassmen. All smiling. All acting like this was normal. Like I was the problem for feeling uncomfortable. Third night was substances. They called it tolerance training. Said swimmers need to handle pressure. Handle discomfort. They brought alcohol. Made us drink. More than I'd ever had. More than was safe. Said we had to finish the bottle. Share it among the freshmen. Prove we could handle it. I didn't want to. Said I'd never drunk before. Derek said that was the point. Learning. Growing. Becoming adults. The team would keep us safe. Watch us. Make sure nothing bad happened. Just trust them. Trust the process. We drank. All of us. Got drunk. Really drunk. They thought it was hilarious. Took videos. Made us do stupid things. Swim races while intoxicated. Diving board tricks. Trying to walk straight lines. We were entertainment, and they were documenting everything. One of the freshman boys, Justin, got sick. Really sick. Threw up. Couldn't stand. They left him on the pool deck. Said he'd sleep it off. Told the rest of us to keep going. Keep drinking. Keep performing. Justin lay there for an hour. Nobody helped him. Nobody called anyone. Just left him there while they made the rest of us continue. Fourth night, I almost didn't go. But the other freshmen convinced me. Said we were almost done. One more night after this. Then we'd be real team members. Then it would be over. We'd made it this far. Couldn't quit now. Fourth night was physical. They called it the gauntlet. We had to swim the length of the pool while the upperclassmen tried to stop us, pulling us down, holding us under, dunking us, making it impossible to breathe, impossible to make progress. We'd fight, struggle, break free, try to keep going. They'd laugh, say we weren't trying hard enough, weren't tough enough, needed to prove we wanted this. I got held under for too long. Couldn't breathe. Started panicking, swallowing water. Someone finally let me up. I was coughing, gasping, terrified. Derek said I needed to go again. Needed to make it the full length. Couldn't quit. Couldn't be weak. I refused. Said this was too much. This wasn't team building. This was dangerous. People could get hurt. Could drown. This needed to stop. Derek got in my face. Said I was disrespecting tradition, disrespecting the team, disrespecting everyone who'd gone through this before me. Said if I didn't finish, I'd be cut from the team. Not just Hell Week. The whole team. Coach would hear about my attitude. My refusal to bond. My inability to handle adversity. I did it. I went again. Made it through the gauntlet. But something broke in me that night. I realized this wasn't about team building. This was about power. About upperclassmen having control. About making freshmen suffer because they'd suffered. Continuing a cycle of abuse and calling it tradition. Fifth night, I didn't go. Told my parents everything. They were horrified. Called the school immediately. Called the coach, the principal, the police. Said students were being hazed. Being forced to drink. Being put in danger. This needed to stop. Now, the school investigated. Interviewed students. Derek and the other seniors denied everything. Said Hell Week was voluntary. Just team bonding. Swimming practice. Nothing dangerous. Nothing illegal. If freshmen felt uncomfortable, they could have left any time. Nobody forced them to participate. The freshmen backed them up. Said it wasn't that bad. Said it was fun. Said they wanted to do it. They protected the seniors. Protected the tradition. Because they'd been told that's what team members do. You don't snitch. You don't ruin it for everyone. You protect the team. Only I told the truth. Only I described what really happened. The drinking, the dunking, the videos, the dangers. And I became the villain. The snitch. The one who ruined everything. Coach found the videos. On Derek's phone, on other upperclassmen's phones. Hours of footage. Freshmen drinking, being dunked, hitting the water from diving boards, vomiting, struggling. Clear evidence of everything I described. Derek was suspended. 3 other seniors. Kicked off the team. Banned from campus. Police investigated. Charges were considered. Providing alcohol to minors. Reckless endangerment. Hazing. But the families lawyered up. Claimed boys being boys. Tradition. No intent to harm. First-time offenders who made mistakes. They got off light. Community service. Probation. Nothing on their permanent records. Derek's scholarship was safe. University of Florida said they'd addressed it internally. He'd still swim for them. Everything worked out for him. Despite the videos. Despite the evidence. Despite endangering 7 freshmen. But my life fell apart. The team hated me. Other students hated me. I was the one who got Derek suspended. Ruined his senior year. Destroyed team tradition. Parents called my parents. Said I'd overreacted. Made a big deal out of nothing. Boys have been doing this kind of thing forever. Builds character, builds toughness. I quit the team. Couldn't stay. Couldn't swim with people who hated me, who thought what happened was acceptable, who thought I was the problem for speaking up. I transferred schools second semester, started over. New school, new team. No traditions, no Hell Week, just swimming. But the damage was done. I have panic attacks in pools sometimes. When I go underwater, when someone gets too close. I remember being held down. Remember struggling. Remember thinking I might die while my teammates laughed. While they filmed. While they called it bonding. The other freshmen who went through it all 5 nights. They stayed on the team. Became sophomores. Then juniors. And when they were seniors, they ran Hell Week for the new freshmen. Did the same things that were done to them, maybe worse. Because that's tradition. That's how you prove you're part of something. By making others suffer the way you suffered. Justin, the kid who got alcohol poisoning, still has health issues. Liver damage. Memory problems. He was 14, and the team gave him enough alcohol to cause permanent damage. Then left him on the pool deck to sleep it off, instead of calling for help. His parents sued the school, settled for an undisclosed amount. He doesn't swim anymore. Doesn't really do much of anything anymore. Megan, who broke her nose, needed surgery. Permanent scar on her face. Reminder of the night she was blindfolded and made to jump off a diving board while her teammates intentionally didn't catch her. She tells people she fell. Doesn't mention the team. Doesn't mention Hell Week. Protects them. Even now. I'm a junior now. At a different school. On a different team. Safe. But I see the stories. Every year, athletes dying during hazing. Getting hurt. Getting traumatized. And schools act shocked. Say they had no idea. Say it was just a few bad apples. Say they're implementing new policies, new training, new oversight. But it keeps happening because hazing isn't about bad apples. It's about systems, about traditions that everyone protects, about silence being valued over safety, about team loyalty, meaning you don't tell. You don't ruin it for everyone. You take it. You survive. You pass it on to the next group. I broke that silence, broke that code, and I'm still paying for it. Still dealing with the reputation, the anger, the social consequences. Still seeing posts on social media about how I'm a snitch, how I ruined Derek's senior year, how I destroyed a tradition. But I also saved lives. Justin could have died, could have choked on his vomit, gone into cardiac arrest, drowned in his own fluids. Someone could have drowned during the gauntlet, could have hit their head diving, could have had an accident during any of those 5 nights, and the team would have covered it up, called it a tragic accident, protected the tradition. I prevented that. By speaking up, by telling the truth, by refusing to let hazing hide behind the word tradition. If you're an athlete, if your team has Hell Week or initiation or any kind of secret ritual, question it. Ask yourself if you'd want your parents to see videos. If you'd want coaches to know what's happening. If you'd want it publicized. If the answer is no, it's probably hazing. Probably dangerous. Probably something that needs to stop. And if you speak up, you might face backlash, might lose friends, might be called a snitch, might have to transfer schools like I did. But you'll also save people, prevent injuries, prevent deaths. Stop a cycle of abuse that's been continuing for years, for decades, for generations. Derek Martinez swims for University of Florida now, starting his sophomore year, living his dream. He posts on social media about team bonding, about brotherhood, about tradition. He has thousands of followers. Everyone loves him. Nobody knows what he did, what he led, what he filmed. But I know. The other freshmen know. Our bodies know. Our minds know. We carry it. The fear, the trauma, the knowledge that people we trusted put us in danger and called it love, called it family, called it team. That's not love. That's not family. That's abuse. And it's time we stopped pretending otherwise. Stopped protecting it. Stopped passing it on. Stopped sacrificing new members to maintain old traditions. I lost my team, lost my friends, lost my school, but I kept my integrity, kept my voice, kept my refusal to accept abuse as normal, as necessary, as traditional. And if I had to do it again, I would. I'd speak up again. I'd tell the truth again. I'd break the code again. Because some traditions deserve to die, and hazing is one of them. No matter what they call it, no matter how they justify it, no matter how many people protect it, it's abuse. And abuse should never be tradition.